I've been on the road, I've been doing shows. Now we eating steak, remember sleeping on the floor. We stillin' at the gas station when the time was cold. In the kitchen, hot still tryna flip it out the stove. Rockin' fake J's, praying that nobody know. Watch them take my dog away, it was way too hard to stay composed. Fight to see the light of day, all this blood on my clothes. I was tired every day, green light, it's time to go. I don't wanna live life fast or die too young. Die too young. 100 miles per hour, I might crash, cause the good die young. Yeah, the good die young. Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home. Long dirt road, all on my own. I'ma be the greatest, write my name in the stone. Write my name in the stone. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Cause I'm coming back home. Right back where I left because I know my people needed me. Diamond in the rough, I don't know what it is they see in me. Go down as a legend in my city cause we beat the streets. Trying to spread the wealth around the block, no I can't keep from me. Told me I should leave. I see the bigger picture and it's way bigger than me. Can't be living like a king, but my people need to eat. If I got it, then you got it, we gon' get back on our feet. And I put it on me. I don't wanna live life fast or die too young. Or die too young. 100 miles per hour might crash cause good die young. Yeah, but here I come. Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home. Long dirt road, all on my own. I'ma be the greatest, write my name in the stone. Write my name in the stone. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Cause I'm coming back home. I'm coming back home. I'm coming back home. Y'all coming back home. Y'all coming back home. I'm coming back home. Y'all coming back. Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home. Long dirt road, all on my own. I'ma be the greatest, write my name in the stone. Write my name in the stone. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Cause I'm coming back home. Write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Frankie Candles live stream FOMC meeting earlier than 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but not quite a morning stream. But what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at, 1:32 p.m. for the FOMC live stream. But, guys, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys for spending your precious time here with the CandleMafia and your boy Frankie Candles to do an undisclosed amount of TA. I don't know if it's going to be a 2-hour stream, a 3-hour stream, a 1-hour stream. I don't know, but we're going to cover this crazy price action as well as the FOMC stream to try to catch some of this volatility, and we're going to go ahead and see what we got going on the charts. So I'm going to do a little bit of a market, kind of just like a little market update real quick for you guys. Let you know what I'm thinking about the markets as of right now. Now, as you guys know, I do want to kind of preface this all with this kind of, disclaimer. Guys, if you are out there trading, please manage your risk right. Manage your risk very tightly right now because we are likely to see some volatility, even though we saw a little bit of a lack of volatility on the past couple of meetings. But we could see things get a little bit crazy. Oftentimes, you will see all the longs get wrecked and then all the shorts get wrecked. They were already trying to wreck the shorts earlier today with that scam wick to the upside. Shout out to the premium Discord. We caught that short from that area with the premium Discord. But, guys, we are likely to see the longs and the shorts all get wrecked today. So be careful. I've already taken actually, you guys probably heard the FOMC whoosh, that sound effect. I did take a little bit more profit on my long just now as we're getting ready to get this meeting started. And shout out to Pearls in the chat, said smash that like button for the greatest. Frankie, shout out to Pearls. I miss you, bro. Happy birthday. I know your birthday was the other day. Shout out to you, man. But guys, with all that being said, let's go ahead, smash that like button. Don't forget, every 100 likes we get, you guys get a spin on the wheel of pain and pleasure, and we will be spinning that wheel on today's afternoon live stream. But real quick, guys, shout out to Anonymous in the chat. Welcome back in, bro. Long time no see. Super happy to see you. He said, let's get wrecked. Shout out to Anonymous. Thank you for being here, bro. Always good to see you in here. I saw the Mafia going crazy when you popped in. But what is going on, man? But let's say what's up to the Mafia real quick, guys, and then we'll jump into the market update and then get ready for the meeting, which obviously, guys, it is expected. The kind of prediction here is a pause. I think it's a 69% expectation, which I believe is quite low for what these usually are. But it is expected to be a pause, just to let you guys know. But let's see who we got in chat. We got TJ Welches. What is going on? He said LFG. We got Dave Digital as always. What is going on, Dave? Thank you for being here. We got Cryptic Sniper. We got Carolina B said yeah. Shout out to Tyler Durden, one of our wonderful mods. I think he might be the only one in here, or at least the only one that I saw. Shout out to Tyler Durden, guys. Show our mods some love in the chat. We got Bubba's Crypto. Mark Dutch, what is going on? We shouted out Anonymous. We got Unknown Bengali, Robert T, Astro Zombie, what is going on? And last but not least, shout out to the Godfather in the chat, guys. Show some respect to the Godfather. You do not want to disrespect him. You know it doesn't end well. Shout out to you, man. And he said, Frankie, let's see. Wait, what did he say? He said, Frank, let's see those hands? I don't even know where that went. He wants to see the hands. I can't show the hands, guys. I can't show the hands. It's only for the only Candles account. But, guys, with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right on into the charts. Let me just change my screen setting here because I am on the ultra-wide settings, which will wind up giving you guys a little bit of small font to be looking at. So it's a little hard for you guys to see. But let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Here we go. So here we are, guys. As you guys know, we have been kind of sitting here getting this bullish consolidation up here after this big move to the upside, and we have simply been just trading this range as the price action develops, guys. Obviously, this is somewhat of a bull pennant, which would likely, or more likely than not, break out to the upside, but it does not guarantee a breakout to the upside. There's the hands in chat. Shout out to Unknown Bengali. Yo, you guys are crazy with the hands, man. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for the super chat. He said, I vote to keep the background spooky. Yeah, we still got the Halloween decorations up, guys. I probably will try to take them off tonight. Caroline B said, OF link, please. JK, shout out to Carolina B. But let's go ahead and continue on here. Again, guys, this bull pennant is not guaranteed guaranteed to break out to the upside, especially with a day like we're going to get news like we are today. If there's any time for a bull pennant to kind of get wonked out, it's probably on a news day like this. But obviously, statistically, these do break up to the upside more often than they don't. And if you guys watched the live stream from last night, we were looking at some of those key levels above us. I will try to show them if we have time today. But we were taking a look at those key levels above us that we may be looking at for some resistance if we get that continued move to the upside. So with that being said, guys, you guys are familiar with the levels we have here. I'll pull them up real quick. Obviously, we are looking at this volume profile. Value area high is coming in. I mean, really just the range high is coming in at about $34,800. Value area low coming in at $33,921. And then like the actual range bottom is coming in at about $33,600, right? About $33,600. But with that being said, guys, we do have a local golden pocket 786 retracement down here, and you have to remember there are some key levels to the downside. If this goes anything like those other FOMC meetings that we saw recently where it was kind of lackluster price action, I will say, it might be boring, right? But if it is not, and we get one of the volatile meetings happening, and we get that big push to the downside, these are kind of the key levels I'm looking at. Again, 786 coming in at about 33.1, and then the golden pocket coming in at about 33,500. And these are going to be kind of the first levels that I would be looking for bounces off of. But if we start losing these levels, guys, we just may want to come down and come tap these single prints, right? Sitting down here between about 32,526 and about, I'll just give you guys the general range here. Again, the top of the single prints here, 32,526. And then those lower levels are going to be at about 31,850. And if you guys don't know what the single prints are, they are simply an untested area on the charts. More specifically, it's an area where price spent less than 30 minutes. Obviously, you will see these pop up on big Lambo candles like this. But oftentimes, guys, price does like to come back down and retest these areas, and it doesn't guarantee you come down to them, but oftentimes price will eventually go back down there, fill the single prints before either getting stuck below them and coming further down, or holding support and coming back to the upside. So if we start getting some kind of crazy push down, right, we're watching those like 5-minute candles that are just pushing. Those are the levels we're going to be looking at. And then above us, I will go ahead and pull up the Bitstamp chart real quick. This is what we were taking a look at yesterday on the live stream. We do have some of these levels up here. More specifically, this naked point of control at about 35,995, basically 36K, same level. So $36,000 is going to be a big level we're watching if we start getting a push to the upside, right? So we continue up, we're looking at 36K, and if we're looking down, we're looking at those levels that I just brought up down here. So that is basically what I'm looking at, guys, and I am just simply waiting for this thing to break up or down, and if we don't break up or down, I will simply be continuing to trade this range. This range has been very good to us in the premium Discord. I am still in my scalp long, which I believe I think it's from somewhere down here at the bottom of the range, still in that long position. I am no longer in my short. We did get into a short at the top of the value area, which wound up playing out beautifully, but then we wound up getting scammed out here on this giant wick, which was also another setup in our Discord to go short from this wick, which was actually a swing failure of some of these wicks back here, and it was a very specific setup we were waiting for. So shout out to the premium Discord and anybody who saw those setups. We've been absolutely destroying this range. But with that being said, shout out to Dave Digital. I saw him say, I don't know where it went. I don't think it was a super chat. Was it? No, it wasn't a super chat. But he said we want to see Solana. Let's go ahead and check in on Solana really quick. This is weird, guys, because we're live, but we don't have our normal live stream schedule because this is an FOMC stream, so we can kind of look at whatever we want. But here we are, guys. Solana, absolutely on the run. And we were looking at this yesterday, guys, talking about this value area. And not only were we looking at this last night saying, hey, may get a little resistance at this key level right here. And this is why, guys, I don't even care. Listen, if someone's out there and you don't even, you could literally come onto our show, not steal them, but like come get the key levels we're looking at with no other context. And oftentimes we do get reactions at these levels, but you guys know, right, what we were looking at on Solana here, which is obviously continuing to fly, and we were talking about how if Bitcoin continues to consolidate, guys, this would open up the door for the altcoins to run, right? We literally talked about this yesterday, and obviously Solana was already on a run before we said that. But here's the thing, right? If Bitcoin continues to consolidate, we could see some more of these altcoins run. Atom looking pretty good, right? In the long term, a lot of these altcoins have those fresh money flow crossovers into the green on the daily, which could indicate a big uptrend to the upside coming in the near future. However, with that being said, you have to understand nothing goes up in a straight line forever. So we're looking for cool-offs, right? We could have some short-term pullbacks, but in the grand scheme of things, those higher time frame money flows are cruising to the upside, giving us the idea that the uptrend may be able to continue. So when we were looking here at Solana, if we come on over to the daily, you could see, right? Now, Solana got the daily money flow crossover, right? But a lot of these altcoins haven't gotten this big breakout yet, right? A lot of these altcoins are more in like this scenario, right? Where we're seeing like the money flow about to cross over into the green. So a lot of these altcoins do have room to come up, but when we were looking at Solana here, guys, we were looking at this previous area of consolidation. And the reason I bring this up is because if you guys can learn these techniques, you can literally go to your chart right now or after the stream and apply these techniques to your chart so you can see this stuff happening before the price actually moves, just like we do. And you can imagine how lucrative of a skill that actually is. So we have this previous area of consolidation, and this was what we were looking at as our next key level of resistance. And at this point, guys, we would be looking for Solana to pop up, flip the value area low to support, and then go straight to the POC. And then once you flip that POC, you're simply waiting to get to the value area high, understanding you also have some other key levels in here, or not key levels, but you have some other intermediary support and resistant levels between your value area low and value area high, right? So you're expecting a little bit of noise, which we were right on this level right here at about 38.79. But what happened, guys, right? We come down to a lower time frame, right? What happens? You come up, right? You hit your head on the value area low. Once you break that value area low, you go straight, well, almost straight to the POC, but then eventually you wind up coming back down to the low, and then you come back up. And I just want to show you guys kind of how this behaves, right? So you go from the value area low, you break up, flip it to support, almost hit the POC, back to flip the value area low, test it as support one more time, and then right to that POC. And then at this point, you're simply waiting for price. Now this opens up the door. As soon as you start holding support above this value area low, we were talking about how this opens up the door to get to your value area high at 41.41. And it was like literally the last altcoin we looked at last night, I believe, saying Solana to 41.41, right? But it's not because I'm the best analyst in the world or the best trader in the world. It has everything to do with the way we do the TA, and I teach it for free every single day on this YouTube channel. Not typically at 1:30 p.m. Usually it's 5:45. But, and then obviously, guys, like we know Solana has moved. You get price sticks to your POC as you would expect, and then eventually, if we come up to a higher time frame, I don't want to sit here and wait forever. Obviously, we wound up breaking that POC, flipping it to support, and then getting our move all the way up to the value area high. So there you go. You break the POC, bull pennant, snap to the upside, got resistance where we expected on this little level right here, got a slight pullback, and then boom, where are we sitting now? Shout out to anybody who was watching the live stream last night. Here we are. Once again, shout out to the volume profiles. Solana is sitting at the value area high of our range. And that's how you use the volume profiles, guys. And, you know, once you start to understand this and understand where to pull these ranges from, find those key value areas that are likely to be respected, it can be extremely lucrative. And it really simplifies the charts, because when you're sitting down here, you're just simply sitting here and you're like, okay, you know, waiting to flip that value area low and get to that value area high, expecting that noise in between. But the simple plan would be to ride that value area high low all the way to the value area high. So Solana going absolutely ballistic. Taking a look at these higher time frames, your 2-day green dot is confirmed. You know, you could still, we're obviously getting a pretty key level of resistance up here. A little bit overbought on the 2-day. Daily still coming up here, not looking too bad. 16-hour, no, exaggerated bearish divergence here on the 16-hour. But I would warn you guys, you don't necessarily want to be shorting every bear div on these altcoins when they're mooning like this, right? They will spit in your face. I say this all the time. But We are at our key level of resistance. VWAP is coming down here on the 16-hour, and then as we work our way down, 12-hour looking for a red dot, 10-hour looking for a red dot, 8-hour eerily close to that red dot, but no divergences or anything like that. So with that being said, guys, this thing may be able to cool off, but understand we are in a bullish environment. The higher time frames have money flow coming up. We are in a bullish environment, so we're not looking to fade these things to zero. If you are looking for shorts, especially on the altcoins right now, I would say don't look to short them to zero. Be careful with the shorts. You want to be pulling back, putting in higher lows, and then continuing to the upside. So you're just looking for small pullbacks to put in higher lows and continue the trend to the upside. But let's go ahead and check in on some of these super chats. Shout out to Creighton C. Thank you for that super chat, bro. He says, only handles. I think he meant only candles, but only handles. Only handles. Home of the hand sniffing, hand touching, and intense hand holding. Ooh, intense hand holding. Creighton C. This weekend, join up for Frankie's Wet n Wild hand lotion show. I was going to take that to the next level, but shout out to Creighton C. Thank you for the super chat, bro. You are the man, and I do appreciate you. And shout out to Mbatter Virus, thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, yo, Frankie, Doge just got a massive dip. Thoughts? We will check out Doge in just a second. And not least, shout out to Wes G. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Said, love what you do, Frankie. Will you please look at Telcoin? It's flying, and I'm looking for a new entry. So Telcoin and, I guess we'll take a look at Telcoin and Doge. Doge and Telcoin will be next. And then let me see here. Let me pull up. Bear with me, guys. Okay, I'm going to pull up my face cam real quick because I want to pull something up in Discord real quick. And I don't want to dox any conversations I may be having. And shout out to Hotline Pepper Products. They DM me on Discord. Now, guys, I don't do this. I really don't do this, but Hotline Pepper Products randomly messaged me and was like, hey, man, can you let me know your short-term thoughts on AVAX? And I was just like, yeah, why not? I just sent them like personal chart pictures, just like, hey, bro, here's some free analysis. I just gave it to him. But Hotline Pepper Products is awesome. They sent us some free hot sauce, so he deserves it. But yeah, you never know. Sometimes I just answer those messages if I have the time. I'm just like, yeah, I'll do some TA, whatever. I'll share it. It's fun for me. I like doing this, guys. But anyway, all right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I want to take a look at Telcoin. Shout out to Mbatter Virus. And let's go ahead and check it out on the Bybit spot chart. Take a look at the daily. Woo, baby! Look at this. Oh, hey, whoa, guys. Sorry. I almost robbed you guys. Only candles. Let's go. Let's see. Compound. Interesting. All right, let's continue on. Shout out to Chief, said AVAX LFG. But here we are, guys, getting a little bit of a pump here on Telcoin. Absolutely ripping. Green dot, a fresh green dot on the daily. I would be careful. With the shorts on Telcoin right now, right? Because you're getting that big moonshot. You are getting the green dot on the daily printing, right? This isn't even confirmed yet. So not only that, look at your money flow, guys. Look at your money flow. Looking absolutely beautiful here with a nice fresh crossover and a fresh green dot. Like, this is poised for a move to the upside. Now, is this, could you see this just roll back over? Sure. But with a fresh green dot like this that isn't even necessarily confirmed yet with the fresh money flow crossover, and it is locally coming up as well, absolutely it looks beautiful to me, to be honest with you. Two-day money flow continuing to the upside. VWAP locally coming up, but could cross over, right? Now, you have to understand, this, even before this move right here, Telcoin has gotten a big move up from the bottom here, right? And if we take a look and just go ahead and measure this to about, 134%, right? This thing is going to get some kind of a pullback to come in at some point soon. Again, I just don't know if I would be looking to short these on the way down. I would maybe just rather wait for the pullback. For me personally, I would be going for the short on the pullback and then the long entry. But if you're not an experienced trader, I would recommend maybe just wait for the pullbacks, right? Don't just try to, because you can get easily caught up trying to short these alts. you could easily get caught up just getting spit in your face, trying to short these alts, even if you have bear divs, even if you're hitting key resistance. Sometimes they just go. So just be careful. But at some point, for me, you might want to wait for a cool off because, again, this 2-day VWAP is rolling over. But, again, money flow is coming up on these higher time frames, guys. And we have been looking at this for weeks on the altcoins. Almost all the altcoins have money flow coming up on the weekly. Right? And we talked about this. We went down the list of altcoins because people were saying that, when should I buy in? And we were just zooming out and looking at all the altcoins saying, like look at Link, right? The Link did break out. But at the time when we were talking about that, Link was all the way down here. And I'm like, guys, I don't know how much lower people want the altcoins to go. Like, they're down 85 to 98%, right? Like, they're all down 90 to 99%. Like, they're almost at zero, right? And that's what you wait for to buy altcoins. So we literally went through the list saying, like, measuring from the top to the bottom, down 80%, right? And then we would just go, INJ is a different story here, but understand INJ has not seen a bull market top, right? So sure, it might be at all-time highs or close to all-time highs, but these are not bull market all-time highs. These are bear market all-time highs, right? This top, this does have a bull market all-time high. I'm sorry. May of 2021. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. But yeah, so INJ, not the same case. But look at DOT, guys. DOT is at the bottom. Literally, DOT is at zero right now, right? Not zero, but it's at the bottom, right? Like, we're still on Polkadot. We are still down 92%. Like, I don't know how much more people want these things to drop. And we were talking about this before everything popped. You have to buy in at some point or you're never going to get in the game. You're just always going to be missing the train. And you don't want to do that, right? But anyway, continuing on here, again, we could be putting in some bearish divergences. Now, I don't want anyone like FOMO shorting Telcoin, right? Because again, you don't want to be shorting these coins on the way, you don't want to be shorting these coins on the way up like this when they're ripping, especially when money flow looks the way it does on the higher time frames. So, but we are starting to get some kind of a bearish divergence here on the 6 hour. Your 4 hour is also printing a bear div, but you can see here, perfect example, right? You would have been looking at this bearish divergence on the 4 hour, right? And you would have been looking at it like right here, looking for a short. And then what happened? You got a VWAP flip. Red dot and an immediate green dot prints right after, pushing you higher. So it's a very sketchy game shorting these altcoins. I would probably just rather wait for the pullback and then look for the next long position. So, you could be cooling off here pretty soon, in my opinion. But again, I probably wouldn't be trading based off of that. But what I want to do is I want to give you guys these targets from above on this previous value area. I'm going to go ahead and let me go ahead and make this a box. Bada boom. Bada bing. And then, let me just mark out the previous value area low, the POC, and then the value area high. So this would be the next, in my opinion, the next major level of resistance, sitting right here at about 0.002091. And then, if you wind up maybe getting a pullback locally here, and then you get a move up, if you flip this level here to support, you could be moving up here to the value area high. And this would be kind of the next key levels I'd be looking at as resistance for Telcoin. If we cool off, where would I be looking for a long? Now, I'm not going to give the exact trade setup, but what I would do is I would be looking to pull some local fibs, right? From the low all the way to your high. This would be an important level to watch, as it is your golden pocket Fibonacci retracement level, right? Price likes to cool off, and when it does, it will oftentimes pull back to the golden pocket, if I can grab it. The golden pocket, and let me go ahead. I'm using a new mouse, guys. It's bear with me here. But yeah. You want to take a look at this golden pocket sitting, I'm not going to say the prices. I don't want to mess them up here, but you can screenshot them. And then your 786 is sitting just below. So if you do get a cool off, these would be the levels that I would be keeping an eye on. And obviously, you could pull more local fibs as well. You may want to pull a fib from, I don't know. Maybe you could pull one from right here, where your 786 lines up with the other golden pocket. Yeah, these are kind of the levels that I would look at for support, right? Boom. So these, if you do get a pullback, I would be looking for longs at these levels if I got my confirmations. And then if you lose this golden pocket / 786 confluence, you could wind up coming down to this 786 a little bit lower. And then those are your key levels above. So there you guys go. There is Telcoin. But again, with that 4-hour bear div, if you got that to print, that might be where you get the cool off. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Shout out to the 652 people tuned in right now. Go ahead and smash that like button if you guys are enjoying the content. Or if I looked at your altcoin, go ahead and smash that like button button. We will be spinning the wheel, pain and pleasure, at the end of the stream, guys. So, again, you guys will get potential possibility or the chance to win some free crypto on Friday, right? But let's see. Shout out to, hold on.
Hey, yo, Jay, can we get some ratchet one time?
That's not what I wanted. Shout out to Zam, Izam. Shout out to you, man. Said, hey, Frankie, can you check sushi? Thanks for all. No problem, bro. Yes, we could take a look at sushi. And hang on, Soul just went wild. Did it just pump randomly, or is he talking about what happened before? Oh, baby, she's pushing. Let's go, baby. This is why you do not short any random bear div on these altcoins pumping. They will fly. All right, let's check out sushi. Some sushi. Little Aztec. Oh, my God. It's all pumping, baby. Everything's going to the moon. I'm kidding, guys. Don't get emotional about it. But here we go. We are approaching key resistance right now, guys. So let me go ahead and pull this range. Boom. Actually, let me pull it to here. Okay, so we are hitting a pretty interesting level of resistance. Let me pull a fib here. Yep, there you go. Golden pocket retracement. So come on. Boom. Okay. So this is an important level, guys. Sushi approaching an important level. Not only is it an important level of resistance or an area where you could get a strong rejection, but it also gives you context into what is likely to happen next, guys. If you get above, I would say the 786 is the level you got to break. If you can get above this 786, that opens the door to potentially come up to about $1.45 on sushi, right? Because we have this previous value area sitting right here. So bada boom, turn this white for value area. Now, obviously, you have this POC and you have this value area high, right? So mark this. We'll mark the line, previous value area high. Mark the POC, previous POC. Where are we? Bada boom. And then we can look at the value area low, previous value area low. So there we go, right? Really, the key level here is that previous value area low, but because your 786 is in that same area, that is your key support resistance to support flip. But that's what I would be looking at, guys. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to delete. That is what I'd be looking for. We want to get a continued move up here on sushi, break that golden pocket and that 786, and then that is going to open up the door. And even if you hit that 786 and then you cool off, right, as long as you can get back above that value area low, that is still really the key level you're looking at to open up the door to about $1.44 or $1.44.5 for sushi, right? And again, what are we seeing on the 2-day? Fresh money flow crossover into the green. Again, we've been talking about this on the live stream for quite some time. Daily money flow crossover into the green. This is looking pretty good. Very similar to a lot of the other altcoins. So I would be careful of a pullback in this purple box. But again, remember, although we have resistance above, that is a key level. Now you know if you flip it, now you're looking for higher prices on sushi. So there we go. Doge, thank you, Alexandra. We can take a look at Doge now as well. You're right. I did forget that. I apologize. But here we are. We looked at Doge recently here, and let's go ahead, and we already have kind of the TA set up here, so I can go through this pretty quickly. Simply put, guys, we are going to be looking, right, Doge still chilling, in this kind of local range, which is, people say, like, should I buy Doge? Where should I buy Doge? Excuse me. I mean, hey, still at the lows here, right? Like, where is Doge off the all-time high, right? Like, pretty low, right? Let's measure it. You have all-time high to the current price. Doge is down 91%, right? Pretty discounted if you ask me. But we are simply trading within a volume profile, guys. I'm not even going to redraw the line. Really, we got rejected from this key level, which is the point of control of the range, and which is to be expected, right? Because you did get your bull divs at the value area low. Let me grab my other mouse. There we go. You did get your bullish divergences, right, on the value area low. Whoops. On the value area low, right? Slight bull div, not the strongest angle on these, but you did get your bull div with lower lows on your price action, deviating below your value area, right? This is letting you know this is on sale, right? This is undervalued. It's been trading within this range, right? This is the fair price for Doge. And then once you dip below, this is where it's undervalued and you can start looking for longs. And if you have bullish confirmations, which right now on the daily, does this not look similar to everything else we just looked at? But it's a little bit behind, right? It just hasn't gotten the crossover into the green yet. But we got to move from the value area low to the POC as expected. But we also got rejected at the POC, which would also be expected. But as long as we hold above this key level right here at about 6 cents, almost even, we could expect to revisit the POC and potentially flip that POC, and then that would open up the door to your value area high, and the value area high is the door to higher prices, because if you wind up breaking out of this range above this value area high on Dogecoin, your next target for Doge is going to be this value area low right here at about 13 cents, right? So you almost get like a, if we went from, where we are right now, and I'm not saying that it's going to happen right away, but if you get that move up on Doge to the value area low, it is going to be basically, from 6 cents to literally almost 14. So that's going to be a pretty big move. Also, you want to understand that you have a volume gap here. Look at this gap in volume, guys. What happens when you enter these volume gaps? Well, if you break out, boom, you get quick moves up as well as quick moves down. So if we break out decisively, you could expect that quick move up to the value area low coming in at about 13 cents. So that's what I would be looking at on Doge. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for that. Thank you for that link. And here we go. All right, so let's see. Bitcoin squeezing up a little bit. Let's go. Shout out to Kembro. Let's go ahead and hit play on this.
Availability of easy to understand resources.
We'll just wait. All right, we'll wait for this to. Okay. We'll continue. I'll keep an eye on this to see when it is actually going to be starting. But here we go. Thank you for that. Okay, Fed rate paused. Let's see. Is Bitcoin gonna moon? Let's check it. There we go. Pause incoming. Honestly, guys, chat is the quickest way to find that. Chat is literally faster than anything. Like, I feel like chat says it before I could even refresh the page. Just made some money on Sol. Let's go. Shout out to French Toaster. The stream's not until 2:30, so that's just gonna be running ads in the background. I'll just leave that. Chemistry, bro. It's at 2:30. Little early, Tony. It's okay, Tony. It's okay. All right, let's continue on here, and I guess we could continue to take a look at the altcoins. But yeah, taking a look at Bitcoin. Is it responding at all? Getting a little bit of a push to the upside. Pull up exo charts here, and let's take a look. Let's take a little bit of a look-see. Pull up that 30-minute. Bada boom, bada bing. Pamper Damp. Shout out to Ian. What is going on, bro? A pause means they are not going to raise the rates. They are going to keep them where they're at. Chief said chat is AI. Shout out to chat. But let's see. Bada boom. Okay, so let's see what we got. Do we have any? I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. Most of our important key levels, to be quite honest with you, a lot of our key levels are to the downside, guys. Like all the single prints are down here. We have 2 untapped naked points of control down here, again, at about 30,800. These single prints coming in, around 32,500. So this is what I would prefer. I would prefer to kind of just get a sweep of the highs and then have a real correction come into this level. But it's very hard to say, especially with the volatility that's likely incoming right here or soon. Let's go ahead and let's see. All right. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the XO charts. Buyers starting to step in here a bit, actually quite a bit. So interesting. Some potential absorption down here as well. This could be. Let's take a look. Yeah. Got people short in the bottom of this candle. If we come down, this is going to be a level to watch here, guys. About 34.50. 34.50 would be a level to watch. Now, why is that, guys? Why would we be looking at these trapped shorts down here as a level to bounce off of? Because you have to think to yourself, if all these people who are short are now in the red, right? And you could see that you could see 451K, 592K, 1 million, 593, 481, 122,000, right? People are shorting the bottom of this candle, and now they are all underwater, right? So either this could add fuel, because if these people get stopped out or liquidated, it is going to add buy pressure to the market. This could push price back up, or if they don't get stopped out or liquidated, oftentimes these traders will add fuel to the market to the upside. However, if we get a push back to the downside and their trades wind up coming back to break even, they may close their positions to just get out of the trade, right? They might be like, okay, I was wrong. I'm back to break even. Let me cut my losses here. And then that would also create buy pressure on the market, pushing price up. Because what happens, guys, when you close a short position, it is simply a market buy, like with a stop loss, right? That's why if you have trapped traders down here, it could add fuel to the market to the upside. And the reason for that is because when you close or get stopped out of a short position, it creates a market buy. That's why that's why these trapped shorts could likely add fuel to the move to the upside. It just depends on if it pushes high enough to stop those people out or liquidate them, or if we come down first. But right now we are flipping these untapped not untapped, but we are flipping this point of control to support. If we remain above this, we could potentially see a continued move to the upside. Pulling back up trading view, pull up this template here. Yeah, we are hitting VWAP. See if we can flip the VWAP here. Whoops. Yeah. See if you can flip this VWAP to support. Could get a continued move up. But we may get a little bit of resistance here. Getting a little bit of a 5-minute bear div. Might get a little pullback. Let's see. Shout out to Wild Tree Man. Shout out to you, bro. You must be crazy in the trees. But anyway, he says, what do you recommend for people from Canada for a platform for trading? I don't know what like the KYC rules in Canada are or anything. But you can check in the description down below. We have all the exchanges that I like to use. You'll know if you can use them in your country or not. Some of them I can't even use, but they're for people overseas. But yeah, you can check it out. We have FEMEX, BingX are two of them that we really like right now. MEXC is good too as well. They have really low fees. But yeah, for me, FEMEX, BingX are kind of my main exchanges. But let's see. Let's continue on here. Somebody said they want to see Quant. Let's go ahead and who asked for that? Louis B. What is going on, bro? Let's take a look at Quant. Let's take a look here. KuCoin. Let me get out of this template real quick. All right, so let's take a look at Quant on the daily, right? Quant. I would be looking for longs on Quant. But I'm not longing right now, right? But money flow on the daily generally coming to the upside, right? Take a look at the lower time frames. Yeah, money flow on the 4-hour coming out. You may be able to continue to cool off here, but again, remember, it depends on your goal with your trades. Are you looking to hold this trade for a long time? Are you looking to get into a 5-minute scalp? What are you looking to do with these trades? But what I would say here is, basically you came up from your value area high up to your value area low to your value area high, and now you are losing that POC. So what I would be looking for here on Quant is probably going to be, let me zoom out and respawn those levels. What I would be looking for on Quant would really be if you pull from the low, from this local low to the high, I would potentially be looking at this zone for a potential long position, right? Not just blindly longing when we get down here, but looking for those bullish confirmations as we dip into this golden pocket, value area low 786 confluence. Because again, you want to realize here, money flow is coming out. So if we are going to continue down, you could wind up looking at these key levels. But again, I wouldn't really look for bigger moves down on Quant because of the way the daily looks until we really start losing that 786 and can't get back above it, right? But with the way the money flow looks like on the daily, we could potentially kind of bing bong around a little bit more, maybe deviate slightly from that low, but I would expect higher prices for Quant coming in very soon as long as we're able to get this money flow crossover into the green on the daily time frame. So yeah, there you go. That's what I would be looking at on Quant. Quick and dirty on that one. Bitcoin, not really, Yeah, no real crazy moves on Bitcoin just yet. Let's see. Yeah, Bitcoin's like, I'm going to take a nap. The altcoins can go wild. Let's go ahead and check out the Bitcoin dominance. Let's see. Bada boom. Bitcoin dominance. Okay, yeah. So let's see here. Yeah, Bitcoin dominance making a move down. So yeah, let's take a look here. I mean, look at the daily. Look at the daily on the dominance, guys. Money flow starting to come out. Let's check that 12-hour money flow coming out. 6-hour money flow coming out. Your 4-hour money flow coming to the downside over time, right? Rolling back over here locally as well. 4-hour red dot. I mean, we may be able to get, the more this dominance falls, guys, more likely we are going to see these altcoins pump, giving these altcoins room to run. And it wasn't just, it's not just this that makes the altcoins look like they can run, guys. Like I said, we were looking at a lot of things recently on the channel for the altcoins. Like a lot of the altcoins were putting in bullish divergences on the 2-day. This was kind of the first warning sign, in my opinion, that we were likely to get either the bottom of these altcoin dumps to be coming in or just get a significant retracement to the upside, because we had a lot of 2-day bull divs on this on these altcoins as we were looking at them on the live stream. I guess back in September, right? Same thing. Like a lot of them were showing this, right? Like let's take a look at DOT. DOT, 2-day bullish divergence confirmed. What happened? We got the move up. We're now looking to flip that POC to support, potentially get a move up to the value area high. OP, no bull div on OP. Let's see. STG did have the bull div, right? Higher lows, lower lows, move to the upside. So there were many things, right, on top of money flow coming up on a lot of the higher time frames. Like a lot of reasons why these altcoins were looking like they wanted to pump. BTC starting to break the VWAP. Let's check it. Oh, baby, she might pump, guys. If we could flip this, like I said, if we can maintain support on top of this 34,465, this is a key level. It is your time point of control as well as your volume point of control right underneath it at 34,442. If we can hold this level, we could see a continued move to the upside. You have your session value area high up here at 34,697. As long as we could break that VWAP, we will likely go to this level. All right, let's see. Bada boom. Ryan says, Frankie, do we FOMO into altcoins? No, I do not recommend you FOMO into anything. Because here's the thing. Although, right, it might have seemed a little FOMO-y, what I just talked about, right? And I'll go over this for a second with you guys, right? Just because we are seeing the altcoins start to move, this is Bitcoin, right? We'll pull up, say, DOT, right? Here's the thing, right? Look at INJ. I would not be FOMOing into this, right? Because it's not just going to go up forever. It's going to wind up pulling back. And you don't want to wind up buying a top here, right? If you go back in time and you bought a candle like this, right? Look at this. Big green candle. Anyone who bought up there got absolutely wrecked, right? Although it continued to the upside. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for a short-term trade or are you looking to accumulate? Because in my opinion, I wouldn't be accumulating, things that are just massive green weekly candles. We are going to get more red weekly candles, right? This is not just like everything's going to $1 million right now. But things can continue to pump. So it really depends. I'm not FOMOing into my alts for my long-term spot bags. I'm just not doing it, right? Like I've been accumulating when we talked about it on the live stream, like buying when we were at the lows, when everybody was saying crypto was dead. And, shout out to anyone who's been watching the channel for a long time. You'll remember, guys, we're pumping right now. How many people were saying that everything was going to zero when we were looking to buy the alts? And, oh my God, crypto's dead. Oh my God, we're in a different environment. The macroeconomics are different. We have different black swans upcoming. I'm sticking to the cycles, right? They might wind up changing at some point, but if you've been here, you want to buy when people are bearish. When you see everybody on Twitter calling for 8K and 10K, you want to be buying. You want to counter trade everybody else, counter trade the masses, counter trade Twitter, counter trade the influencers for the most part, right? Because a lot of times, especially the news, the bearish news is another big thing. By the time the bearish news comes out, it's either already priced into the market or even if the bullish news comes out, once the bullish news comes out, usually you get a dump, right? Because the signals are usually on the charts first, you get a run up, and then it's usually buy the rumor, sell the news event, right? So you just don't want to, it's you want to buy when everybody's scared, not when everybody's it's funny because it's such a common thing. There's a little bit of excitement that comes into the market and everyone's like, oh my God, everything's pumping, and then everybody comes and they're like, should I buy? And it's like, no, like don't FOMO in on these green candles. I forgot to ask the question, but I wouldn't FOMO in on the green candles. Not financial advice. They could continue to go up for sure, and I think they will, but I wouldn't FOMO in on these green candles, in my opinion. That's me personally, not what I'm telling you to do. Not a financial advisor, but that's kind of what I would do. But it is funny, like, I'm like that guy, like people start texting me, friends start texting me, from back home or family, like, oh, I see crypto's pumping. What should I buy? I'm like, nothing. You should have been buying when you were texting me saying, good luck with your career, man. Looks like everything's going to zero. Like, you should have been buying then when I was telling you to buy. But I never tell anybody to buy. I just tell people what I'm buying. I tell people, hey guys, I sent out messages like, I feel obligated to send this message to friends and family. Like, guys, I'm accumulating certain things. This is my plan. I just feel like if this is the bottom and we go into another bull run, I have to send this message, whether I'm right or wrong. But this is what I'm doing. I feel like people are going to ask me, and you guys probably won't text me until things are mooning again, and that's not the time to buy. You want to buy when everyone calls you stupid, right? So I wouldn't say I love when people buy the top. More liquidity for me to grab. Let's go. Shout out to Rutger. Shout out to you, man. And we're now calling them rug tugs, guys. They're no more rug pulls. They are now rug tugs. It's only rug tugging from now on. But anyway, FOMO when everyone's scared. That's what I would say. But yeah, I don't think it's too late, right? Like, I don't think it's too late. But I just wouldn't buy these giant green candles. I forget who asked, but hopefully that helps you out, man. I just wouldn't buy the giant green candles. Like, I wouldn't be buying up here. I would wait for some kind of a retracement. But again, especially INJ. Like, I'm probably not buying INJ right now. But look at Dot. Dot's chilling down here, right? Dot is chilling down here. Also, Dot is locally flipping that POC, trying to break out. If it holds above this POC decisively, and we take a look at some of the indicators, take a look at the daily, money flow starting to come up, right? Might cool off a little more with the VWAP coming down, but once that money flow crosses over, guys, and we hold that POC as support, we could be looking up to about $5.41 on Dot. So there you go. But nothing is going to go up forever. And I'm always down for a dump, to be honest. I kind of always want everything to dump because I just want to buy more. But let's go ahead and continue on. Yo, oh my God. Shout out to Ian, said put the geriatric speech on the second screen. 15 minutes left. I'm gonna wait. We'll wait for it to start. I got it running on this screen over here. How much leverage do I use? Shout out to Sean. It depends on the scenario, right? It depends on the trade. It's hard to answer. Like, sometimes I'm using 1 to 3x, sometimes I'm using 50x, sometimes I'm using 100x. But to be clear, I am never just randomly 100x longing stuff, right? I have a very specific way I use leverage to manage my risk, not get rich. That's not how you use leverage. Leverage is not there to be a gambling outlet, right? You could easily turn it into a gamble, but you do not want to do that, right? What you want to do is use leverage to manage your risk. So I'm not going to go super into it, but it really just depends. Swing trades, I will go bigger, higher capital, right? Lower leverage, right? But sometimes when I do, low time frame scalping, I do like to use higher leverage with certain strategies. And then sometimes I enter a trade with 3x leverage, and when it moves in my favor, I'll take profit and then jack the leverage up to pull some of my actual money out of the trade so I could deploy that capital somewhere else. So leverage is not what people think. Like, people, when they first get into trading, they think like, what leverage should I use? It's like, and they're thinking of it as, how much should I amplify my money? That's not how you should think of it. You should think of, first off, what is your plan with the trade? Are you scalping? Are you swing trading? Are you position trading? Like, what are you doing? And then you can figure out your leverage from there. Because, I have a trade up, I could be in a trade with 3x leverage and then another trade with 100x leverage, but they're just completely different plans. So hopefully that helps you out. But let's see, ETH pumping hard. Check it. Let's check out Ethereum, or Erythrium, as your grandmother might call it. And let's go ahead and see. So as you guys can see here from yesterday, probably yesterday, we are simply just looking at Ethereum kind of in a similar bull pennant situation as Bitcoin, but we are stuck between the point of control and value area low of the range. And we were talking about, shout out to Jordy. Jordy has just been literally, not stealing, but Jordy has been out here just like taking the information on the live stream And he's not even in the premium Discord, but he's literally just taking the information from the live stream and making money off the free live stream. So shout out to him. I think he was long from right down here. But we're stuck between the value area low and POC of this area of consolidation or this area of balance. So really key level on Ethereum right now is going to be this POC. You flip that POC to support, we're looking up towards the value area high at about 1925. So there you go. Quick and simple on Ethereum, right? Taking a look at the daily on Ethereum. What do we got, right? It's slightly lagging behind Bitcoin, but we're getting these crossovers into the green. And although we are getting rejected at the zero line here, once you get that green dot, we may be able to push above that POC and get up to the value area high, again coming in at 1925. So there we go. Yeah, Ethereum's starting to push up a little bit here. Not looking too bad. Ooh, nice little trigger wave on the, what was that, the 2 hour? Yeah, nice little trigger wave. Not necessarily a trigger wave. You don't have an anchor, but you got a nice tight little trigger wave here alone by itself here. Green dot, money flow crossing over on the 2 hour. Your 1 hour money flow also crossing over into the green. I would love to get a green dot on the 12 and the 16 hour for a continued move up. 4 hour fresh green dot. Could potentially get a move up. I would be careful, guys. Like, we haven't gotten a significant cool-off here yet, right? We have a lot of stuff to come fill. So, you know, if we do get a push up, I would be cautious of continued bearish divergences and a move to the downside. But locally here, you know, we look like we could push up on Ethereum, and that key level is the POC, sitting at about 1850. Like I said, Ethereum loves those even, you know, X50, 1550, 1850, 1950. Like, it likes those 50 increments for some reason. But that's what I would be looking at. Those are the key levels on Ethereum. Not only the key levels, but also what I would be expecting coming up here in the near future. Can we check Algo? Yes, we can. No more degen trades. No Solana. Bad moose. Bad moose. And moose from one farm animal to another, even though a moose is not a farm animal. But, hey, as your animal friend, I am a goat. I'm a billy goat, guys. But, you know, shout out to Anonymous. Shout out to you, bro. But anyway, good to see you in here, bro. Good to see you in here. But let's continue on and check out. Yeah, let's go ahead and check out Algo. Bada boom. Okay. Taking a look at Algo, which was, oh my God, guys. Yeah. Algo, we were talking about Algo last Friday. Where were we? Friday on the 27th, saying I was looking to pick up some Algorand, just because, again, like, for the same reason we've been talking about everything else, right? Like, what is this? Hang on. Let me pull up there we go, right? I'm just going to get rid of all these levels. And, you know, Algorand, right? Let's measure it. Boom. Down 96%. Still down 96%, like, probably going to be at a higher price than here at some point, right? Like, it's probably pretty safe to say, no guarantees, not financial advice. I'm just saying, you know, chances are, you know, especially when you're looking at this kind of, you know, you can look at, you know, either of these ranges. You can maybe look at this range, or you could even pull this range all the way back to here. Yeah, I mean, what I would really be looking for, did you get the 2-day bull div on Algorand? Yes, no, not quite. Not quite. You got it from here. From this momentum way? No, not really. It is kind of an exaggerated bull div, right? Where you have equal lows. That is what an exaggerated bull div is, right? You don't have lower lows, but you have equal lows with higher lows on your momentum waves. That is still a bullish divergence, although sometimes they play out a little less aggressively, right? But we came up, flipped this value area low to support. We're now at the POC. We could see, right? I'm not saying right this second, but if we get another pump on Algorand as, let's see, do we have any reasons to pump? Yeah, these VWAPs working back to the upside. 4-hour green dot printing. If we get a continued pump on Algorand, I would be looking at this next key level at about 12.5 cents for our next target. And that's what I'd be looking at on Algorand. But still, super, super massively cheap off the highs, guys. So there you go. And again, yeah, we're now within this area of balance. We would expect a visit of that value area high. So there we go. Let's go ahead and make that neutral. And yeah, so we are still in the long position on Bitcoin, guys. We'll see. We'll just take a look at this on the FOMC chart real quick. But yeah, we are still up 570%. We got a whole bunch of profit locked in. Still got about 800 unrealized profit. Going to be letting this kind of just ride. I don't even have my stop loss set because my entry is pretty dang low. My entry originally on this trade was 25 to 50. But then I accidentally added to the position a very small amount of money. So my original entry was all the way down here. Let me come up to like a 6 hour. My original entry for this trade, guys, was literally from right down here, like literally the bottom. But I added slightly to the position by accident. I thought I was entering long on something else, and I didn't realize it defaulted. I was still on Bitcoin, and I accidentally added to the position, changing my entry price to 26.8. So annoying because it doesn't even really like change the trade that much. I'm still long from the bottom here, but it's just so annoying because this was like literally sniped at the low. But hey, didn't really change the trade too much. I added to the position, which was nice because it wound up playing out very nicely. But going to be holding this. Like I said, I got stopped out in profit, almost break even on my short trade. I made like $17. So I basically broke even on that one. But we're going to see if this pennant will rip back to the upside. But again, guys, we have plans for a move to the lows or a move to the highs to profit in either direction. So going to be holding this trade. And then I am also in a scalp long, which I do not have open here. It's actually on my phone. Let me go ahead and check this really quick. Scalp long is up. Let me refresh. 166%. So we're up 166% on this one, 570% on the other one. So there we go. Devil says BTC to 32.8. Dump. Let's go. Hey, bro, we got some levels at 32.8, man. We got some levels at 32.8. Where are they? Yeah, right here. Single prints sitting at about, or the top of them at about 32.5. And then, yeah, we have 32.5. What were we just looking at that was at 32.8? I don't remember. It's probably marked down somewhere, but 32.5, close enough. Let me see. Actually, let me take a look. It's going to bother me. 32. Yeah, 32.5 is where I'm looking. I wouldn't hate 32.8 either, though. But there we go. All right, what time is it? 2:27. 2:27. FTM breaking out. Compound quickie. Shout out to Walking Dead X. We'll take a look at Compound really, really quickly. And then we will pull up the stream. There we go. Compound getting a nice little push up here on the 4 hour. Interesting stuff, guys. Things might go ballistic here for the FOMC. I'd be looking for this to potentially move up to about 46.95, value area high of the range. Key level support sitting down here at 44.50. Hey, Walking Dead, you said quickie, bro. Don't tempt me with a good time. So PLC sitting at about 45.61, but your key level of support here is as long as you can hold above this level here, 44.51, right? Or 44.50 essentially. If you hold above that level, could continue up. But remember, money flow is coming out on the 4 hour, similar to a lot of other things. Yeah, I don't know. Indicators are going to get a little mucky. It might get a little hard to read here. Bitcoin pushing up. Bitcoin 34,623. But yeah, fresh green dot on the 6 hour. Let's check that 8 hour, looking for the green dot as well. What's our 30-minute money flow looking like? Nothing to take away. But yeah, I would be looking next level for Compound is likely going to be 46.95 if we continue back up. And then if you break out of this level, I would be looking simply to come up to this area of this other range right here, right? Which is like literally in perfect confluence. So if you break this value area high, not only are you breaking out of this value area, but you could be getting accepted into this higher range, right? So again, how I would kind of look at this is you're right now, if you get to this value area high, you could be knocking on the door to some higher prices, right? Because if you get above here, you know this is a value area high, value area low, and if you hold this level as support, it could likely open up the door to about 48.80, 48.86, which is the value area high of your range. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on Compound. Shout out to Walking Dead X. There is your quick little Compound. J-Pow gonna load up. Let's go. Soul Soon 45. Please stop. Let's check Solana. Still, let's see. Let's pull up the chart we've been looking at. Oh, baby, she's pushing. She is pushing. She is pushing. And kind of very similarly to what we just looked at on Compound, you actually have another sort of value area. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily, I don't know if I'd necessarily pull this, but yeah. I mean, we are coming up to some resistance, but it is pushing. Just literally going to the moon right now. No problem, Walking Dead. I got you, brother. No worries at all. Let's go ahead and check. Bitcoin still slightly pushing to the upside. Let's pull Bitcoin back up before we pull the stream up in just a second. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we're above that VWAP. Could be pushing up. Oh, there we go. Right? We said if we held above this, if we break the VWAP and hold above this, these naked point or these points of control, we could push up to the value area high at 34,700. Could be on the way, and here we are. This is how you read the markets, guys. All right, let's see. Let's see. Injective is going to have better returns than Solana. Let's go. I mean, hey, INJ is clearly proven itself here for sure. And I actually like INJ. So, yeah, INJ is looking pretty dang good. But I do not think Solana is dead. I made a video about this a while ago. Yeah, Joe the Realtor says, keep dreaming on the Bitcoin dip. Yeah, I mean, guys, you can't call for 10K forever. That's what I mean. Like, you don't want to get overly emotional about this stuff just because, you know, if there's some people out there who call for 8K, like, you need to be able to change your mind, right? Now, obviously, we do believe that I've been in the camp that 15.5 was the bottom, but, you know, being open to the idea that, like, it's not impossible to break the lows, right? Nothing is impossible, right? It's not impossible to yeet to 100K right now. Nothing's impossible. But, at this point, guys, like, not only is it likely that the bottom is in based off the timing of the 4-year cycle, but again, looking at Market Cipher, you know, these weekly money flow crossovers into the green which was happened right here, are typically very good markers that the bottom is in. Not good markers that you're about to go to 100K, but good markers that the bottom is in. So, Joe, I actually agree with you, bro. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Let's go ahead and pull up and see. Come on. Okay. We got Chrome bugging out right now. Bear with me. Okay. I don't know what just happened. Chrome just bugged out, but here is our boy. Let's pull him up. Bada boom. Bada bing. Let's go.
Has been expanding at a strong pace and well above earlier expectations. In the third quarter, real GDP is estimated to have risen an outsized annual rate of 4.9%, boosted by a surge in consumer spending. After picking up somewhat over the summer, activity in the housing sector has flattened out and remains well below levels of a year ago, largely reflecting higher mortgage rates. Higher interest rates also appear to be weighing on business fixed investment. The labor market remains 3 months. Payroll job gains averaged 266,000 jobs per month, a strong pace that is nevertheless below that seen earlier in the year. The unemployment rate remains low at 3.8%. Strong job creation has been accompanied by an increase in the supply of workers.
Should be louder, guys.
The labor force participation rate has moved up since late last year.
Kembro, let me know if that's
for
better.
Individuals aged 25 to 54 years. And immigration has rebounded to pre-pandemic levels. Nominal wage growth has shown some signs of easing, and job vacancies have declined so far this year. Although the jobs-to-workers gap has narrowed, labor demand still exceeds the supply of available workers. Inflation remains well above our longer-run goal of 2%. Total PCE prices rose 3.4% over the 12 months ending in September.
Volume up.
Excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 3.7%.
I can raise it a little bit more if you guys need.
Inflation has moderated since the middle of last year, and readings over the summer were quite favorable. But a few months of good data are only the beginning of what it will take to build confidence that inflation is moving down sustainably toward our goal. The process of getting inflation sustainably down to 2% has a long way to go. Despite elevated inflation, longer-term inflation expectations appear to remain well anchored, as reflected in a broad range of surveys of households, businesses, and forecasters. as well as measures from financial
Okay,
markets.
perfect. Thank you, Bad Axe.
The Fed's monetary policy actions are guided by our mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people.
BTC popping.
My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation imposes significant hardship as it erodes purchasing power, especially for
Value area
those
high
least
tapped,
able to meet the higher
just
costs
as
of
we
essentials like food, housing, and transportation. We are highly attentive to the risks that high inflation poses to both sides of our mandate, and we are strongly committed to returning inflation to our 2% objective. As I noted earlier, since early
Play the
last
great.
year, we have raised
Let's
our
go. I
policy
have not
rate by
forgotten, brother.
5.25 percentage
I
points.
like that idea.
And we have decreased our securities holdings by more than $1 trillion. Our restrictive stance of monetary policy is putting downward pressure on economic activity and inflation. The committee decided at today's meeting to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 5.25% to 5.5%, and to continue the process of significantly reducing our securities holdings. We are committed to achieving a stance of monetary policy that is sufficiently restrictive to bring inflation sustainably down to 2% over time, and to keeping policy restrictive until we are confident that inflation is on a path to that objective. We are attentive to recent data showing the resilience of economic growth and demand for labor. Evidence of growth persistently above potential, or that tightness in the labor market is no longer easing, could put further progress on inflation at risk and could warrant further tightening of monetary policy. Financial conditions have tightened significantly in recent months, driven by higher, longer-term bond yields, among other factors. Because persistent changes in financial conditions can have implications for the path of monetary policy, we monitor financial developments closely. In light of the uncertainties and risks and how far we have come, the committee is proceeding carefully. We will continue to make our decisions meeting by meeting based on the totality of the incoming data and their implications for the outlook and for economic activity and inflation, as well as the balance of risks. In determining the extent of additional policy firming that may be appropriate to return inflation to 2% over time, the committee will take into account the cumulative tightening of monetary policy,
I feel like I'm like
the lags with
like on
which
the side of
monetary
the
policy
on the
affects
charts,
economic
let him
activity
talk,
and
just, like,
inflation,
trying to make sure I'm prepared
and
for what
economic
happens.
and financial developments.
Don't mind me.
We remain committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2%
Solana
goal
ripping.
and to keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Reducing inflation is likely to require a period of below potential growth and some softening of labor market conditions.
Scalp long on
Restoring
200%.
price stability is
Let's go.
essential to set the stage for achieving maximum employment and stable prices over the longer run. To conclude, we understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the
He always
country.
says this.
Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
All right. We look forward to you answering the questions, pal.
Howard Schneider with
Powell.
Reuters. Thank you, Chair Powell, for doing this. To what you referenced the rise in long-term bond yields, to what degree did that supplant action by the Fed
Yes,
at this
I
meeting?
can.
Thanks for your question. So
Yes, I can pull up a.
I'll talk about bond yields, but I want to take a second and just sort of set the broader context in which we're looking at that. So if you look at the situation, let's look at the economy first. Inflation has been coming down, but it's still running well above our 2% target. The labor market has been rebalancing, but it's still very tight by many measures. GDP growth has been strong, although many forecasters are forecasting,
hard.
and they have
It's gonna
been
be hard to put
forecasting that it will
put
slow.
both things on the.
As for the committee, we are committed to achieving a stance of monetary policy that is sufficiently restrictive to bring inflation down to 2% over time, and we're not such a stance. So that is the broader context into which the strong economy and all the things I said, that's the context in which we're looking at this question of.
Sorry, guys. Trying to get what just happened, man.
Obviously, we're monitoring, we're
There we
attentive
go.
to the
Okay.
increase in longer-term yields, and which have contributed to a tightening of broader financial conditions since the summer.
There we go.
As I mentioned, persistent changes in broader financial conditions can have implications for the path of monetary policy. In this case, the tighter financial conditions we're seeing from higher long-term rates, but also from Other sources like the stronger dollar and lower equity prices could matter for future rate decisions as long as two conditions are satisfied. The first is that the tighter conditions would need to be persistent, and that is something that remains to be seen. But that's critical. If things are fluctuating back and forth, that's not what we're looking for. With financial conditions, we're looking for persistent changes that are material. The second thing is that
No problem, Patrick. I got
the
you.
longer-term rates that have moved up, they can't simply be a reflection of expected policy moves from us. That we would then, that if we didn't follow through on them, then the rates would come back down. So, and I would say on that, it does not appear that an expectation of higher near-term policy rates is causing the increase in longer-term rates. So, in the meantime, though, perhaps the most important thing is that these higher Treasury yields are showing through to higher borrowing costs for households and businesses, and those higher costs are going to weigh on economic activity to the extent this tightening persists. And, the mind's eye goes to the 8%, near 8% mortgage rate, which could have, pretty significant effect on housing. So that's how I would answer your question.
Just as a quick follow-on to be clear on this, in your opening statement and just now, you seem to imply that you are not yet confident that financial conditions are restrictive enough to finish the fight. Is that true?
Yes, that's exactly right. To say it a different way, we haven't made any decisions about future meetings. We have not made a determination, and I will say that we're not confident at this time that we've reached such a stance. We're not confident that we haven't. We're not confident that we have. And that is the way we're going to be going into these future meetings, is to be, just determining the extent of any additional further policy tightening that may be appropriate to return inflation to 2% over time.
Gina.
Hi, Chair Powell. Thank you so much for taking our questions. I wonder, if you don't raise interest rates in December, would the presumption be that at that point that we should expect that rates are at their peak, or is there a possibility of restarting rate increases next year? And are there any costs to taking a more extended pause?
So,
Was he texting?
let me start by saying we haven't made a decision
He's
about
gonna carry
September.
some
You're
weight,
asking
what'd you say?
a hypothetical there, but we're going into this December meeting. We'll get, as you know, 2 more inflation readings, 2 more labor market readings, some data on economic activity, and so we'll be taking, and also the broader situation, the broader financial conditions situation, and the broader world situation. We'll be looking at all those things as we make a decision in December. We haven't made that decision. I would say, though, that the idea that the idea that you would be difficult to raise again after stopping for a meeting or two is just not right. I mean, the committee will always do what it thinks is appropriate at the time. And again, we haven't made any decisions at all about December. We didn't talk about making a decision in December today. Really, it was a decision for this meeting and understanding broader things.
Yeah, Mystic Rune tapped that value area high and beast out.
Nick Timmeros
Yeah.
of the Wall Street Journal. Chair Powell, did the Fed staff put a recession back into the baseline forecast in the materials for
Just
today's
hit those
meeting?
points of control.
And how much
See how those acted
does
as
this
support?
tightening in financial conditions
level.
substitute for rate hikes if
long as we hold
the
above this,
tightening
we
is
could locally
persistent?
continue
You had
up.
said it was
It's
worth
not
maybe a
until we lose
quarter
this that I look
point
for a bigger move down.
when we had the bank failures in the spring.
See what happens.
What is it here on something that's presumably more straightforward and more familiar to simulate?
So I guess
Back up that
I don't
VWAP,
want to
baby.
answer your question about the recession, but the answer is no. I think I have to answer it since we did publicly say in the minutes. You'll know anyway in the minutes. The staff did not put a recession back in. I mean, it would be hard to see how you would do that if you look at the activity we've seen recently, which is not really indicative of a recession in the near term. In terms of how to think about translation into rate hikes, I think it's just too early to be doing that. And the main reason is we just don't know how persistent this will be. You can see how volatile it is. Different kinds of news will affect the level of rates. And I think any kind of an estimate that was, precise would hang out there and have a great chance of looking wrong very quickly. So I think what we can say is that financial conditions have clearly tightened, and you can see that in the rates that consumers and households and businesses are paying now. And over time, that will have an effect. We just don't know how persistent it's going to be, and it's tough to try to translate that in a way that I'd be comfortable communicating into how many rate hikes that is.
If I could follow up, I guess what makes you confident that what makes you confident that tighter financial conditions will slow above trend growth when 500 basis points of rate hikes, QT, and a minor banking crisis have not thus far?
Well, that's
moving up.
You know, the way our policy works is, and sometimes it works with lags, of course, which can be long and variable. But ultimately, if you raise raise interest rates, you do see those effects, and you see those effects in the economy now. You see what's happening in the housing market. You're seeing that now. You'll see if you look at surveys of people, it's not a good time, they think, to buy durable goods of various kinds because rates are so high now. I mentioned again, we're getting reports from housing that the effects of this could be quite significant. But you're right. This has been a resilient economy, and it's, I think, been surprising in its resilience. And there are a number of possible reasons why that may be.
Yeah, smash that like button, guys.
Our job
is
to achieve maximum employment and price stability, and so we take the economy as it comes.
Like button,
it has been resilient.
Nick.
So
hey, Nicky.
We just we take it as it is.
Colby.
A rally into recession
Thank
has
you.
begun.
Colby
Lads.
Smith with the
Be
Financial
very
Times. In terms of the
careful.
thresholds that you've laid out of what could warrant further tightening, the additional evidence of persistently above trend growth or some kind of reversal in the recent easing of labor market tightness,
FOMC
that seems to
have
suggest
just
something
been
more
so
powerful than just one more
lackluster.
quarter
You
point
guys remember when
rate
FOMC
hike
used
would
to
be
be fun?
necessary, and
When
I'm
you used
just
to literally
curious
see
if
it
that's
happen
how
and
the
be like, oh my God,
committee sees it.
everything's going crazy. What's
So we've
happening?
identified those
And, you
factors.
just don't
Those
get
are
that
not
anymore.
meant to be the only factors or a specific test that we're going to be applying with some metrics behind it. Really, we're going to be looking at the broader picture, and what's happening with our progress toward the 2% inflation goal. Is the labor market continuing to broadly cool off and achieve a better balance? We'll be looking at that. Growth. We look at growth insofar as it has implications for our 2 mandate goals. We look at that. And we look at broader financial conditions. So we'll be looking at all of those things as we reach a judgment.
Our Solana video that we put out a
whether we
few
need
months
to
ago,
further tighten policy. And if we do reach that judgment, then we will further tighten
that could
policy.
age very well.
And just in terms of the tightening of financial conditions, if that is having some kind of offsetting effect in terms of the need to potentially, again, raise rates, what then is the potential impact on the trajectory of rate cuts? Could we see those maybe pulled forward or have to see more than what the September SEP indicated?
So the fact is the committee is not thinking about rate cuts right now at all. We're not talking about rate cuts. We're still very focused on the first question, which is, have we achieved a stance of monetary policy that's sufficiently restrictive to bring inflation down to 2% over time, sustainably? That is the question we're focusing on. The next question, as you know, will be, for how long will we remain restrictive? Will policy remain restrictive? And what we said there is that we'll keep policy restrictive until we're confident that inflation is on a sustainable path down to 2%. That'll be the next question. But honestly, right now, we're really tightly focused on the first question.
I want to find some new, don't mind me,
The
guys.
question of rates cuts just doesn't come up because I think it's the first. It's so important to get that first question
to just moon here.
As close to right as you can.
Steve Leisman, CNBC. Mr. Chairman, I guess I had assumed that there was a tightening bias in the committee. You say in the statement you're looking to assess the appropriate stance of monetary policy.
Shout out to Steve.
The extent to which you may need to hike additionally. You didn't say earlier that you were sufficiently restrictive. There were forecasts for 2 rate hikes among most members of the committee. But then you just said that we haven't made a determination. Would you say the bias right now is neutral, that there is no disposition to hike again, and that the committee largely has moved off of this forecast for 2 hikes? Or for, one additional hike?
I think you're talking about one additional.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that at all. I would say, the language, looking at it here, in determining the extent of additional policy firming that may be appropriate to return inflation 2% over time, that's the question we're asking.
So is it right to think of that as a hiking bias is still in the committee here? We
haven't used that term, but it's fair to say that's the question we're asking: is should we hike more? It's not, and that is the question. And you're right that in September we wrote down 1 additional rate hike, but and we'll write down another forecast, as you know, in December.
Chris.
Thank you, Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. Well, since the last meeting, the auto workers' strike has finished. Oil prices have leveled off. And yet, on the other hand, you have the outbreak of war between Israel and Hamas. How do you see all those factors taken together affecting the economy
Still holding
going
this
forward?
key level, guys.
How are you thinking
this
about
is our
that?
level. 34,470
So
to
there are
34,442.
significant
Hold
issues out
this,
there.
we
As you
continue up.
point out, global geopolitical tensions are certainly elevated, and that goes for the war in Ukraine. It goes for the war between Israel and Hamas. We're monitoring that. Our job is to monitor those things for their economic implications. So the UAW strike, as you point out, appears to be coming to an end. Oil prices have flattened out. They haven't gone down, but I guess they've gone down a little bit from their earlier peak. Another one is the possibility of government shutdown. We don't know about that one. So there's plenty of risk out there. But I would go back to the bigger picture from our standpoint is we've got a very strong economy, strong labor market,
guys,
making progress on the labor market, making progress on inflation.
Not much above.
And,
Like the next significant
we're very
level here on
focused on
Solana, guys, is up to $88.
getting
so I'm not saying
confident
that
that
we're
we
just gonna
have
teleport
achieved
to
a stance of monetary
$88, but
policy
remember,
that is sufficiently restrictive.
there's
That's
a
really our
pretty
focus.
big gap here.
Great. And just one
Big
quick
gap.
thing.
Next
You
significant
last month
area of
had
volume
gone to
is
York,
not
Pennsylvania, where you
until-
talked to a lot of, last month, where you talked to a lot of small
guys,
business
upward
owners.
value
Just
area.
curious, what sentiments did you hear from them, or what did you picked up on, and was there anything that surprised you the most in terms of what they talked about?
I wouldn't say I was terribly surprised. I was very impressed by York as a town with a real strategy, and I would say it's very impressive what the people there have put together in the face of some difficult longer run trends about offshoring of manufacturing and that kind of thing. They've done a great job
battle, probably.
as a city, I think. What you hear
$65 to give you a little bit of a battle,
is
but other than that,
consistent
guys,
there,
I
which
want
is
you to
people are
notice
really
quick
suffering
moves
under
down.
high inflation.
And when you
You were
zoom out
there.
to
We
the
talked to
higher
some
time frames,
people who were feeling that
far
in
as
their
volume,
businesses, and other people who
not
were feeling
much
it in their
between
home
where we're at
lives
now.
as well.
Start breaking out
It's
to these
it's
levels,
painful for
things could
people,
get
particularly
very
people who
exciting for Solana very quickly.
who don't have a lot of extra financial resources, who are spending most of their income on the essentials of life. So we know that wasn't new, but that did come through very clearly in the conversations we had in New York. And I walked away from that even, just thinking that we really the
shout out
best
to
thing
Dave.
we can
There you
do
go. That's my
for the
sauce. I'm not
U.S.
saying it's going
is to
instantly
restore
to,
price stability,
$65, but 50 is probably your next stop.
fully
Once you
restore
really
price
start
stability and not
breaking,
fail in that task, and
once
do
you
it as
really start
quickly as
breaking
possible,
50
but also
bucks,
with the
things
least
open
damage
up.
we
Things do open
can.
up. You do have some levels in here, though, so you got to be careful. But in the grand scheme of things, right, in the longer term, maybe
Hi,
there's some
Chair Powell.
noise. but
Rachel
in the
Siegel
long
from the
term,
Washington
that
Post.
would
Thanks
not
for
be
taking our
trajectory, in my
questions.
opinion.
You've spoken
Crack
before
$50.
about the pain that would likely be coming for the economy in order to get inflation down. But since the economy has not responded to rate hikes in ways that would normally be expected, have you changed your views on that at all, on how necessary or inevitable that kind of pain would be, say, for the labor market or overall growth?
Well, I think everyone has been very gratified to see that we've been
Maybe by
able
the end
to
of the year is
achieve,
possible,
pretty
for sure.
significant
In my
progress on
opinion.
inflation
We don't
without
really have to get through much
seeing
more
the
to get
kind
there.
of increase in unemployment that has been very typical of rate hiking cycles like this one. So that's a historically unusual and very welcome result. And the same is true of growth. We've been saying that we need to see below potential growth, and growth has been strong, but yet we're still seeing this. I still believe, and my colleagues, for the most part, I think still believe that it is likely to be
from our
true.
level.
It is still likely to
Break
be
that
true,
value
not a
area high,
certainty,
we
but
could shoot-
likely
could shoot up.
that we will need to see
Potentially.
some slower growth
Other than that,
and
guys,
some
this is
softening in the
pretty
labor
lackluster
market,
for an FOMC
in labor
meeting, if you
market
ask me.
conditions to get
More of the volatility
to
happened this morning.
fully restore price stability. So, but it's only a good thing that we
SFP on
haven't
that
seen,
level.
and I think
Shout
we
out to
know
the
why.
premium. Let's go.
Since we lifted off, we have understood that there are really two processes at work here. One of which is the unwinding of the distortions to both supply and
My
demand
crypto.
from the pandemic and the response to the pandemic, and the other is restrictive monetary policy, which is moderating demand and giving the supply side time to recover, time and space to recover. So you see those two forces now working together to bring down inflation. But it's that first one can bring down inflation without the need for higher unemployment or slower growth. It's supply side improvements like shortages and bottlenecks and that kind of thing going away. It's getting a significant increase in the size of the labor market now, both from labor force participation and from immigration. That's a big supply side, gain that is really helping the economy. And it's part of why GDP is so high, is because we're getting that supply. So we welcome that. But I think those things will run their course, and we're probably still going to be left, we think, and I think, we'll still be left with some ground to cover to get back to full price stability. And that's where monetary policy and what we do with demand is still going to be important.
Against that backdrop, if you've gotten any clarity on lags, if you have an economy that's been so resilient to high rate increases, does that suggest to you that there isn't necessarily this huge wave of tightening that's still coming through the pipeline and that it may have already come into effect?
I continue to think it's very hard to say. So it's been 1 year at this meeting. 1 year ago, this was the fourth of our 75 basis points hikes. So that's a full year since then. I think we are seeing the effects of all the hiking we did last year, and this year we're seeing it. It's very hard to know exactly what that might be. But you can, for example, an example of where you wouldn't have felt this yet is debt that had been termed out. But it's going to come due and have to get rolled over next year or the year after. So, and there are little things like that where the effects are just taking time to get into the economy. So I think we have to make monetary policy under great uncertainty about how long the lags are. I think trying to get a clear answer and say, I'm just going to assume this, is really not a good way to do it. And this is one of the reasons why we have slowed the process down this year, was to give monetary policy time to get into the economy. And it takes time, we know that, and you can't rush it. So slowing down is giving us, I think, a better sense of how much more we need to do if we need to do more.
Michael McKee from Bloomberg Television and Radio.
I'm
trying to connect the dots here. One quick clarification I want to ask about Rachel's question is, you said you need slower growth. You had always said before a period of lower than trend growth. Has that changed? And two, it sounds to me like you're basically saying here that the dot plot's out the window, that every meeting is live with the possibility of a rate increase for right now. Doesn't matter about the turn of the year, and that there's not an objective way to determine whether or not you've got enough tightening in the system. It's just going to be a subjective judgment meeting by meeting.
Key level flip to support, guys.
Let's talk about the dot plot first. So the dot plot is a picture in time of what the people on the committee thinks is likely to be appropriate monetary policy in light of their own personal economic forecast. In principle, when things change, that's not like a plan that anybody's agreed to or that we will do. That's a forecast that would change, for example. I mean, many things could change that would cause people to say, I wouldn't write down that dot, 6 weeks later. Think of the number of things that could change your mind on that. So I think the efficacy of the dot plot probably decays over the 3-month period between that meeting and the next meeting. But nonetheless, it's out there, and we do personally update our forecast, but we don't formally update the dot plot. So, I think we try to be as transparent as we can about the way we're thinking about these things. We're laying out there our thinking, and as we approach the meeting, we'll all be, my colleagues and I will be talking about how we're processing that data. In terms of, we're not really changing the way, in terms of growth.
What is this?
What I said was below potential. So what you have here recently is growth that is temporarily, potential growth is elevated for a year or two right now over its trend level. So the right way to think about it is, what's potential growth this year? People think trend growth over a long period of time is a little bit less than 2%, or I would say just around 2%.
Approaching the doorway to higher prices, guys.
What we've had is with the improvement in the size of the labor force, as I mentioned, through both participation and immigration, and with the better functioning in the labor market, and with the unwinding of the supply chain and shortages and those kinds of things, you're seeing actually elevated potential growth. There's catch-up growth that can happen in potential. And that means that if you could be growing at 2% this year, and still be growing below the increase in the potential output of the economy. I hope that's clear. That's really what's going on. That's why I would say it as below potential.
But if you could clarify what I asked about the meeting by meeting, are we essentially now supposed to assume that it's a meeting by meeting, live meeting with a chance of a rate increase that will be decided on subjective criteria rather than objective at each meeting?
I mean, I don't know that I want to just accept anybody's characterization of it. I'll tell you how we're doing this. So we're going meeting by meeting. We're asking ourselves whether we've achieved a stance of policy that is sufficiently restrictive to bring inflation down to 2% over time. That's the question we're asking. We're looking at the full range of economic data, including financial conditions and all of those things that we look at. And then we've come very far with this rate hiking cycle, very far. And you saw the spread at the September meeting of, it's a relatively small spread of people think one or two additional hikes. So you're close to the end of the cycle. That was an impression a belief as of September. It's not a promise or a plan of the future. And so we're going into these meetings one by one. We're looking at the data. As I mentioned, we're also, we're being careful. We're proceeding carefully because we can proceed carefully at this time. Monetary policy is restrictive. We see its effects, particularly in interest-sensitive spending and other channels. So that's how I think about it.
Neil. Thanks. Hi, Chair Powell. Neil Irwin with Axios. In light of the run-up in long-term yields we've seen the last several weeks, have you given any consideration to the pace of your asset runoff program? And if there were a judgment that the higher term premium was endangering the dual mandates goals,
does look pretty
would that be
loud
reason
on
to
my
think
end.
about slowing or suspending QT, or should we think of that as more of a technical question around reserves?
So, committee is not considering changing the pace
That
of
should
balance
be
sheet
better.
runoff. It's
I
not
could turn
something we're
myself
talking
up
about or
slightly as
considering.
well.
And I know there are many candidate explanations for why rates have been going up, and QT is certainly on that list. It may
Is that
be
better?
playing
Can
a
you guys still hear
relatively
him?
small
And
effect,
can you
although
hear
I
me?
would say at $3.3 trillion
Let me know.
in reserves.
Someone said
it's
Cure
not-
Project
I
said
think-
Fed
I
is
think
pretty
it's hardly
loud.
the case that reserves
Just
are
change it.
even
So let me know
close
if
to
that's better
scarce
for
at
you
this
guys.
point. So that's not something that
Shout out to
we're
Mohammed.
looking at
What is
right
going
now.
on, bro? But yeah, guys, XRP and XRP hopping up. I'll just mute him for a second if you guys don't mind. XRP approaching this key level, guys. This is your key level on XRP. You flip this, could be on your way up to about 83 cents, right? Not instantly, but it opens up the door to get up to those price targets. Shout out to Wolfman. Says your voice is nicer. Ooh. Good questions, to be honest. Yeah, can't say that about every meeting. That is for sure. Shout out to Kembro.
So that proposal is out for comment, and we expect a lot of comment. We won't get those comments
Better
until
balance. Okay, perfect. Shout out
the
to
end
DMB
of,
Smurf.
Until well into next year.
But yeah,
We've
guys,
extended the deadline.
Volatility
And we'll take
pretty
them
boring
seriously.
here.
We'll read them. Well, I'll say
probably
what
gonna
I do
probably gonna
expect
wrap
is
this
that
up pretty
we will-
soon.
We will come to we're a consensus-driven organization. We'll come to a package that has broad support on the board.
So does broad support mean more support than the proposal had?
It means broad support.
I don't know why it's funny seeing everybody raise their
Janelle
hand,
Marte
like
with
full-grown
Bloomberg.
adults.
So,
me. It's pretty funny.
in addition to persistence, when you look at long-term treasury yields, what else are you watching to evaluate how those tighter financial conditions are hitting the economy and if it will lessen the need for further tightening? Also, do you think that those higher yields could affect
Dixie holding strong.
banking stress?
So what do we look at? We look at a very wide range of financial conditions. And in fact, as you'll know, different organizations publish different financial conditions.
I totally.
indexes,
What did we
which
say?
can have,
Listen,
7
I
or
don't
8
really hold
variables,
Hex,
or they can
but
have 100
Hex
variables. So
always
there's
on the big
there's a
dumps gets
very
some kind of
rich
crazy rally.
environment, and we tend to look at a few of them. I'm not going to give you the names, but they're a few of the common ones that people look at, and so they're looking at things like the level of the dollar, the level of equity prices, the level of rates, the credit spreads. Sometimes they're pulling in credit availability and things like that. So it isn't any one thing. We would never look
Guys,
at,
what did we just say?
for example,
Flip that POC
long-term
to support
treasury
dot
rates
goes to the value
in
very high.
isolation.
Let's go.
Nor will we ignore
Let's
them. But
go.
we would look at them as part of a broader picture, and they do play a role, of course, in many of the major standard financial condition indexes.
Yeah.
Your
We looked at
second
dot before.
question was
Hold that POC. Next likely place for price to go.
Banking stress.
Area high.
So
Let's get it.
It's something we're watching. As you know, we did have there were issues with interest rate risk and also funding uninsured deposits in the March, the things we went through in March and thereafter. And so we've been working a lot with financial institutions to make sure that they have good funding plans and that they have a plan for how to deal with the kind of portfolio unrealized losses that they have. We do think the banking system is quite resilient. We have
Peekaboo said, "You wizard!
Bank failures.
You're a wizard, Harry." Now you guys are wizards too.
That's what we're out there doing, and we don't have any reason to think that these rate hikes are materially changing that picture, which is one of a strong banking system and one where there's a strong focus by banks and by supervisors on liquidity, on funding, and those sorts of things.
I got you, Andy.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Scott Horsley from NPR. Last week, you and your colleagues put forward a proposal to lower the cap on debit card swipe fees for comment. Could you just talk a little about the considerations there, what it would mean for merchants, for banks, for consumers, and also just what y'all are seeing in terms of the use of both debit and credit cards in the payment system?
Move.
So
Andy
right,
wants you to move.
We
move.
Put a proposal out for comment is what we did, and this is a job that
Move.
Congress
Do
assigned us,
something.
as you
Go,
of course
Ada.
know, in Dodd-Frank, and all we can
Shout
really
out
do
to
is
Andy.
faithfully implement the statute. That's all we're trying to do. What else can we really do?
Shout
it's
out
a
to
90-day
Landon.
comment
Let's go. What
period.
color did you get, bro?
We
Let me know.
typically don't
He
comment
likes
on
the
these
hat.
things once they're out for comment, and we do hope that stakeholders, and we know that they will use this opportunity to express their views. They haven't been shy.
Shout out to
about that.
Peekaboo. Bro, you got to pay
So
yourself. That's right, man.
critical,
That's
and
right.
That's what I can say about that now.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair. Edward Lawrence with Fox Business. So over the last 3 months, the year-over-year PCE inflation was at 3.4%, core well over 3%. You've said in the past 2% remains the Federal Reserve target,
That's what I'm
but with
talking
no
about.
rate increase today, how long would you be okay
We
then
talk
with
about
a
it,
3%
it
or
pumps.
3% plus?
Or not even
overall
talk about it.
inflation?
We just look at it and do TA, and it moves.
The progress is probably going to come in lumps and be bumpy, but we're making progress. I think the
I got you,
core
Mystic
PCE
Ruin.
came
I got
down
you,
by
brother.
almost 60 basis points in the third quarter.
Bitcoin.
So
Push it,
if you-
baby, push
the
it.
best thing I could point you to would be the September SEP, where the expectation was that inflation by the end of next year on a 12-month trailing basis would be well into the twos, and the year after that further into the twos. So that's if you look historically, that's sort of consistent with the way inflation comes down. It does take some time, and as you get further and further from those highs, it may actually take longer time. But the good news is we're making progress, and monetary
Just
policy
took some
is
profit on my
restrictive, and
scalp long
we feel
on
like
Bitcoin.
we're on
I'm
a
gonna take a little
path,
more.
to make more progress, and it's essential that we do.
Well, you've said in the past that doing too little on interest rates could take years to fix, but the cost of doing too much could be easily fixed. How robust was the debate about this pause on the doing too little side?
That's always the question we're asking ourselves, and we know that if we fail to restore price stability, the risk
Shout out
is
to Emacs,
that
says ETH.
expectations of
Check it.
higher
She moving?
inflation get entrenched in the economy, and we know that that's really bad for people. Inflation will be both
Still
higher
moving.
and more volatile. That's a prescription for misery.
Yeah, ETH's stuck in the
And-
range, guys.
And so,
like if
we're
you
really
pulled up
committed to not letting
what
that
is this?
happen.
This is not what I want to look at.
Yeah,
if you
for
pull up
the
a clean
first
chart
year or
on
so
ETH,
of our tightening cycle, the risk was all on the side of not doing enough.
like
We're-
you could look at
know,
this as
we're-
its own
we've
range.
come
You don't have to
far
look at the
enough
ranges that I'm
that
looking
the
at. If you
risks,
just pull this
you
as
know,
its own little
have
range here,
gotten
like you're
more
at the value
two-sided.
area high,
You
now
can't
you have
identify
context,
that
right?
with a lot of precision,
Pushing
but it does
up.
feel like the risks are
Come
more
on, ETH.
two-sided now. But we're committed to getting inflation back down to our target over time, and we will.
Here we go. Tap the value area
Simon
high.
Rabinovich with The Economist. Quick follow-up to the question about banking stresses. You talked about how the banking system is resilient. Of course, part of the
I might
resilience of
degen.
past year
I might
stems
degen on
from
ETH
the,
right
the
now.
Bank Term Funding Program that you launched in March. Given that bond prices have not recovered, that unrealized losses are probably mounting.
This is a gamble,
how
guys. Like
likely
you don't
is it
want
that
to
you
trade
might
this
have to
live,
extend that
right? So like
program,
I'm basically
in
gambling, but I
March
might
next
mess
year?
around with ETH.
Good question.
I don't want everybody copy
we
trading me
haven't
because
really
I
been
want
thinking
anyone
about
getting
that
wrecked.
yet. It's November 1, and that's a decision we'll be making in the first quarter of next year.
Okay. Sorry, quick separate question about inflation expectations.
GRT,
The
you can take a look at
Michigan
GRT.
Sentiment Survey showed a big jump in 1 year ahead inflation expectations last month from 3.2 to 4.2.
3-minute bear dip.
Last
Oh my God,
year
it's
you
going to
said
zero.
That
I'm just
particular
kidding.
survey was a really decisive factor in one of your rate
I mean,
hike
guys, a lot of
decisions.
these alts. A lot of these
If it
alts.
stays elevated,
Look at that money flow
next time
crossover. This
around,
money flow,
how
look
big
at
of an
that
input
on
will that be into your
GRT,
December
guys.
thinking?
Yeah, we look at a range of things. I think the
Don't look
UM thing
bad.
got blown
Does
out
not
of proportion
look
a little
bad.
bit. It was actually a preliminary estimate that got revised away, and I said it was preliminary in that, but that didn't get picked up. So
GRT
we
could hit
look
13
at many
cents.
things. And so
If you
really,
could hold
look
above
across
this
the
level here
broad
at 10
array of
point
surveys
1079.
and also market-based estimates, and and we do
You
that
could be on your
really
way.
carefully at every meeting and between meetings. And it's just clear that inflation expectations are in a good place.
With the way things are going, it might
does
just do it
believe
right
that-
now because I
that
said it was
inflation
going
will
to.
get
But
back down to 2%
this is what I'd be
over
watching
time.
on GRT. Shout out to whoever
and
just
it
asked
will.
for that.
They're right. So, and there's no real crack in that armor. You can always find one reading that is a little bit out of whack, but honestly, the bulk of them are just very clear that the public believes that inflation will come down, and that's, of course, we believe that's critical in winning the battle.
Hi, Chair Powell. Megan Casella with Barron's. Thanks for taking our questions. I wanted to see if you could talk about the neutral rate. You mentioned today that you're still debating whether rates are sufficiently restrictive, and you've recently said that evidence is suggesting policy is not too tight right now. So I was curious if you could elaborate on that at all and whether that means the neutral rate, in your view, has risen.
Yeah. So first thing to say is that it's very important. It's a very important variable in the way we think about monetary policy, but you can't identify it with any precision in real time, and we know that. So you have to just take that. You have to take your estimate of it with a grain of salt. What we know now is, within a range
with
of
me,
estimates
guys.
of the neutral rate, policy is restrictive.
Trying to look for this ETH
and
trade
it's
right
therefore
now.
putting downward pressure on economic activity, hiring, and inflation. So we do talk about this. There's not any
Shout out
attempt to
Izam said, thank you very much for the
to
sushi
sort of
TA. My biggest win
agree
ever.
as
Shout
a
out to
group
Izam. Let's go.
on what-
Shut up, Powell. Shut up, Powell. Shout out to Izam. Let's go. Congrats, bro. Biggest win ever. Let's get it. Shout out to Izam. Congrats on your win, bro. Congrats on your win. Let's go. Congratulations, bro. Sorry, guys. I am trying to find this entry on Ethereum.
by being careful in our moves.
But let me share it with you guys here.
Does it-
I'm not
does
telling
it
you to get
feel
into
like
this trade.
Monetary
but
policy is restrictive enough.
This is a risky,
to bring
risky
inflation
trade.
down
Look at the money
2%
flow
over
on the
time?
15
That's
minute
the
here.
question we're asking
Money flow coming up. This is
I think,
not for the faint of heart. This is not for
years
the
from
beginners.
now,
This is
economists
for
will
the
be
experience. And
revising their
honestly, even if you're
estimates
experienced, you
of
probably get
R-star
wrecked on
as
this
it
anyway.
existed on November
But
1,
yeah, 3-hour fresh green dot.
can't-
Like
we
not
can't
the
really
time to
wait for
short
that
ETH, but
in
I may
making
be
policy.
looking
We
for
have
a
to,
micro scalp.
Look, we have
Maybe
to have
looking
those models
for
and
a
look at them and
micro
think about them,
scalp.
but ultimately, we've got to look at the effects of that policy's having.
Hey, shout out to Bailey
Accounting for the
Armstrong. Said
lags,
spooky
which makes it
background.
difficult.
Let's go. That actually did take
I
me
could
way
follow
too
up
long,
on a
Bailey.
weight
Shout out to
point
you, bro. Hope you're
earlier.
doing well,
You
man.
talked about the
Good to see you in
inflation
here.
outlook, but I'm curious if you have any concerns whether wage inflation at its current level could risk pushing up overall inflation or reacceleration.
So if you look at the broad range of wages, they have wage increases have really come down significantly over the course of the last 18 months to a level where they're substantially closer to that level that would be consistent with 2% inflation over time, making standard assumptions about productivity over time. So it's much closer than it was.
Shout out to Daniel. No
And
worries,
that's
bro.
true of,
You win some,
the
you lose some,
ECI,
bro.
which
You
is
win some, you
the one
lose some.
that's
Just make sure your
one
losses
we
are
got
smaller
this
than your
week.
wins.
It's true of average hourly earnings and compensation per hour too. So, and all of them are kind of saying that, which is great. And you have to look at a group of them because
Get out of
any
my
one
head,
them
Creighton.
can be
Get out of my head.
in any given reading. So that's what you see. And so what you saw with the ECI reading was, if you look back it comes out 4 times a year. If you look back a couple of quarters, you'll see it was much higher, and then it came down substantially in June. And then the September reading was more or less at the same level as the June reading. So in a way, it's just validating.
Creighton, get out of my
that
head.
decline.
Get out of my head.
And it was very close to our expectations internally too. So I think we feel
Are
good
we
about
pumpkin
that.
or
So I would
dumpkin?
say
Shout out to Astro Zombie.
It isn't, in my thinking, it's not the case that wages have been the principal driver of inflation. so far. Although I do think it's fair to say that as we go forward, as monetary policy becomes more important relative to the supply side issues I talked about.
Shout out to Jordy. He said, short with me, Frankie, short with me.
It may be that the labor
Oh,
market
boy, you guys are
becomes more
funny.
important
Shout out to
over time,
Jordy.
too.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what
Hi,
happens.
Nancy Marshall-Genser.
Yeah,
with
no, chemistry bro.
Marketplace.
Shh.
Chair
It's funny
Powell,
every
I'm
time
now
before the
as
stream. Let me pause
concerned
here for a
about
second. It's so funny, guys.
overshooting-
Sometimes before the stream, like I'll take some profit on a trade or something, and like you guys, you just heard that swoosh because I just did something on FEMEX. It's funny, like I take profit and people are like, I heard you do something. What is he doing? Is he shorting? Is he long? And you guys kill me. Shout out to chemistry, bro. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just don't want people just copy trading me and then losing trades, especially right now. If this was a normal day, I would talk about this setup live, but like chances are it's going to lose or chances are we'll get stopped out. I'm not going to get wrecked, right? If we get stopped out, guys, it is funny, right? If this thing ripped up and stopped me out, it's a laughing matter. I'm like, dang it, pesky market makers, right? But I am in an ETH short, up 0.8%, but I'm actually down $8 in fees. So we'll see what happens. You just entered, bro. Shout out to Ian. No, I didn't. Get out of my head, guys. Get out of my head. Let's see. But yeah, like I don't want anyone who's a beginner to misunderstand what I'm doing here. This is a micro short. This is a very low time frame short. This is not a like I am bullish on Ethereum. I think Ethereum. Look at this trigger wave on Ethereum. Granted, we do not have an anchor wave. I mean, we do back here, but that's irrelevant, right? We have this. Look at this tight trigger wave. These are oftentimes indicative of big moves up. Now, money flow is coming out, right? So we could potentially, get some kind of a correction in here. We did get this big move up. But this is a low time frame trade. This is a scalp, right? So just to kind of put into perspective, where I would be looking to take profit for this trade, if you pull your fib from the low to the high, right? Like we move down here, I'm taking profits on this thing, right? So it's not like this is not like I'm not expecting this to like dump. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. It's for the degens, right? Like I am almost certainly going to get stopped out of that trade. I'm just kind of bored listening to this guy talk. So yeah,
inflation was clearly cooling and coming down. Now we've seen periods like that before, and there hasn't been follow through. The data have bounced back. So.
Yeah, post that ETH long first.
Are we seeing,
yes,
in
regards to
That's
completely
the
different
thing.
time
Second thing
frames,
is,
right?
In the labor market,
this is a very, very, very low time frame trade. I actually could have just closed that trade, and I would have been happy with it.
Of supply and demand,
yeah, I am long
through just
Ethereum.
much
I'm not
more
long
supply
on
coming
Ethereum, but
online.
like from a perspective
And
of
with-
like how
with
I
labor
feel about
demand
Ethereum, like
still
this is what I
clearly
feel about
remaining very
Ethereum.
strong.
Whether we get a local
Any
pullback
other
or not
kind
is
of
another thing, but I do
job
think
growth
Ethereum
we've
will
had
push
over the
up.
last
That daily
quarter,
money flow on
it's still
Ethereum
very
is
strong
bullish,
demand.
right?
So- and
This
you
is a
see
part.
wage increases
This is
coming
where you
down,
need
as
to
we discussed,
separate
but coming
the
down,
context,
in a
right?
kind of
So we're not
gradual-
short on Ethereum because we think it's going to dump. Like we could make money on that trade. This is a very low time frame, high leverage trade. If this candle could close green and I can close that trade and be happy with the profits, right? It's a very low time frame scalp. This is not me thinking that Ethereum is going to dump here at all. I am bullish on Ethereum. Yes, let's go. Shout out to Andy. He says 566 people in here, 370 likes. Fondly FOMO, that like button, y'all. Smash it. Smash up that like button, guys. Let's go. I'll keep letting these guys talk. Probably going to wrap up pretty soon here.
I wouldn't say there's been a structural change in consumption. I would say it's certainly been strong. And so a couple of things. We may have underestimated the balance sheet strength of households
Post
and
said
small
the
businesses,
scalp short. I originally
that may
said
be
long.
part of
Did
it.
I? Interesting.
There may be, we've been, like everyone else, trying to estimate the amount of savings that
It is actually a short, though.
that
I am not
households
scalped
have
long on it.
from
I am
the
scalped short on
pandemic when they
Ethereum
couldn't
right now.
spend on services really at all, or in-person services. And, there can still be more of that than we think, although at a certain point we're going to be getting back to pre-pandemic levels of savings. We may not be there yet. So clearly people are still spending. The dynamic has been
just entered
really
1820. Darren, long or
strong
short?
job
Let me know,
creation
bro. Let me know. We're in it
with
together.
now
Jordy, let's
wages
go. We're
that
all
are-
in
that are
together.
higher than inflation in the aggregate anyway. And that raises real disposable income, and that raises spending, which continues to drive more hiring. And so you've had a really, that whole dynamic has been, and also at the same time, the pandemic effects are wearing off so that goods availability, automobile availability is better, or was better. I think it still is. and from a business
Ethereum short
standpoint, they want
ETF.
people to hire, and there's
Interesting.
more labor supply. So the whole thing has led to.
I don't know much about it.
more
I don't know much
spending,
about it.
and that kind of thing. And it's been good. And the thing is, we've been achieving progress on inflation in the middle of this. So it's been a dynamic. The question is, how long can that continue? And I just think this.
Yo, shout out to Bailey. Bailey says, speaking of scalps and shorting, the hair on my scalp is rapidly reaching a critical low. Yo, shout out to Bailey, man. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
That took longer for that process to begin than we thought, and we're still learning about how it plays out. That's all we can do.
So to Daniel for the last question.
All right, let's see. Ethereum, do something. Wreck me or do something. Dump or wreck
Daniel
me,
Davis
bro.
from Agence France Presse.
R.I.P. Bailey's Airwolf, man. Oh my God, Bailey, you're funny for saying that, bro.
With regards to the Israel-Hamas conflict, the Fed's financial stability report said the Israel-Hamas conflict and the conflict in Ukraine pose important
Yeah, shout out to
risks
Wolf of
global
Crypto.
economic
Should be
activity,
interesting,
including
that
the
E-short
possibility
ETF. I'll have
of
to look
sustained
into that
disruptions
after
to
the
regional
stream.
trade in food, energy, and other commodities. You've had organizations like the World Bank warning of a possible surge in oil prices if the war spreads to other countries in the region. I'm just wondering how the Fed is monitoring these developments in the Middle East.
Then
You mentioned
pamp.
they are, and just what
Then dump.
the potential
damp.
economic impact could
Shout out
be
to Amador.
if the
I'm a dork
conflict
too,
does
bro.
spread
Don't
to
feel
other
too
countries
bad.
in the region. Thank you.
I wouldn't want to speculate too much, but I'll just say so.
All right, guys. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see much more volatility here. We'll see what happens.
And does it start to do things like affect?
God, I mean, I would take an aggressive move up on Ethereum to stop me out of my short
The price of
over
oil
watching
has
paint dry.
really not
I will tell
reacted
you
very
that.
much so far to this.
Watching you at work. Shout out to
As-
Wolf of
as the
Crypto.
Fed-
What is going on, bro?
as
Welcome
the
in.
Federal Open-
Guys, I think that is about all the time we got for today's live stream. I got some stuff I got to get done before tonight's live stream, where I will probably be telling you about how I got stopped out of my Ethereum short. But with all that being said, guys, again, Solana ETF in the future? Maybe, potentially. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, Solana, we'll just do one last check on Solana. Let's put this full screen. So, I mean, this is giving me anxiety. Let's go take a look at Solana. Yeah, getting a little bit of a cool off here to be expected. But guys, somewhat of a kind of a nothing burger, right? We're just still stuck within our volume profile. My trading plan remains exactly the same as it has been. But yeah, we are just simply going to be trading the plan, looking for those higher levels to get hit before looking for our, our bigger trades, and then also looking for those lower levels, more specifically down towards these single prints, looking for our potential long potential long positions. But guys, until then, we are simply just trading the plan until we break out of this volume profile to the upside or the downside, which I was hoping was going to happen, today during this. During this meeting, but we just literally got nothing to happen. We're just still stuck within the range, so I am simply just continuing to trade the same plan. Hopefully something happens and we get a giant move up or a giant move down by the time we are live at 5:45. But until then, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get some other stuff done. But with all that being said, that is all the time we got for today's FOMC stream. Another lackluster FOMC, low volatility meeting. But guys, remember, those altcoins, those money flow crossovers into the green on the dailies for a lot of these altcoins are looking good. Nothing goes up forever, so be careful of those short-term pullbacks, but we are bullish in the medium to long term on a lot of these altcoins, especially if we see Bitcoin continue to consolidate sideways. We could easily see these altcoins continue to fly to the upside, and now you guys got the targets to the upside on most of them. So with all that being said, I'll see you guys different time. 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys know the time right here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. I'll see you guys then. That's all I got. Thank you all for tuning in. Smash that like button on your way out. If we get 550 likes on tonight's stream, I'll add those 15 spins to tonight's live stream. So we're going to do the streams. I'll take these likes that we have. We got 400 and something right now. But if we get 550, I will add 15 spins to tonight's wheel. Wheel spin, which will essentially just end up with you guys taking all my money. But with all that being said, I'll see you guys at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's all I got. See you guys later. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on the roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on the roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the